The conflict has escalated in Sudan before the much-awaited 24-hour ceasefire that is expected to be implemented at 6 o'clock tonight. The two groups have agreed to stop after pressure from the international community. For the latest, we're now joined by correspondent, of course, of the SABC, Naba Mohiedeen, who is in Khartoum. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Is there any sign that the ceasefire will be implemented at 6 p.m.?
Actually, the ceasefire is not 100% sure that or confirmed that the two sides will commit to it, because right now, while I'm talking to you, I can hear gunfire and I can hear shooting. Yes, it's calmer than the past 3 days. This afternoon was a bit better than the past 3 days, and some stuck people in hospitals and in buildings around in Khartoum capital and around military headquarters were evacuated. But it's not really big change. It's not a very big impact into people's life, because people are still suffering. And right now, the ceasefire should start in 20 minutes, but we can hear gunfire and we can hear escalation. So we are not 100% sure that the RSF or the military will commit to it and adhere to the promises they gave to international community to save or preserve civilians' life and stop this chaotic shooting.
And that is indeed worrying. But I guess let's see what happens then from 6 p.m. So talking about, how this has impacted civilians, is there any humanitarian assistance that is reaching the people who are in need?
Actually, no, there is no humanitarian assistance outside Sudan or from agencies yet. Very short aid is provided by neighborhoods committees, because even the agencies want to help the neighbors affected by or neighborhoods affected by the shooting. They cannot access them, and they don't have enough guarantees to go safely to access those in need. So yes, the aid is still short, and people are still in need for power, water, food and medicine. But the good thing is some people are they used this 3 hours of a bit calmer situation and moved and fled from the capital Khartoum to central Sudan, to Al Jazeera state and northern state, because now, yes, the war is everywhere, the battles is erupting everywhere, but Khartoum is the worst in all of the states in the country. So it's impacting people's lives, it's impacting patients, it's impacting hospitals, operation, and it's, of course, a catastrophic situation in the country.
Definitely catastrophic, especially when we look at some of the visuals that have been coming from, your side where you are. Let's talk about, what is happening on the ground. I know you say, of course, the focus is Khartoum right now, but let's talk about the other areas. How badly have they been impacted? Because we know where you are, there is a lot of impact. But what are you seeing on other parts?
Other parts are also impacted heavily by these tensions and escalation, unnecessary escalation by the two generals. Specifically, northern state people right now are suffering because the Merowe airport is the core, or the fundamental differences between the two armies was about Merowe airport and who is controlling it. So people in northern state near the borders with Egypt are suffering, just like Khartoum, and also people in Darfur region, in the whole 6 Darfur states are suffering, and these very bad events is giving them the memory of the war in 2003, back when the genocides happened, and when the rapid support forces and the military also contributed to fuel the civil war in Darfur. So people are in Darfur also are so impacted, and there is hundreds of people are injured and hundreds are killed without even having a chance of being evacuated, or the agencies cannot even record them, because the situation is really chaotic and there is no access to any region outside Khartoum.
And we do understand that, when you talk about those injuries and those that have been affected as well, when it comes to that, there's also also been some military personnel who have also been injured as well?
Of course, yes, there is some military personnel were injured, and some news say there is also some officials were arrested by each other investigation services. The RSF has stopped some military officials, and military has stopped some RSF officials. And also on the ground, there is a lot of dead bodies of soldiers on the ground from the two sides. And this is the sad thing. This is a Sudanese blood. It's a lose-lose situation. Nobody is winning this battle. So yes, officials are hurted, and also the Minister of Mineral Resources, his house was impacted, and he lost 2 of his family, and 3 others were deeply injured without having a chance to go to hospital. So it's impacting everyone, and it's impacting also some Western envoys in the country. The U.S. convoy was targeted yesterday, and also EU diplomat was assaulted in his house, and there is some news saying there is also an officer, a female officer, was sexually assaulted in an office yesterday. So it's really sad. It's impacting everyone, Sudanese, foreign people who are working in the country, UN agencies, WFP program, and definitely the displaced people from other countries who live in Sudan. So the chaotic situation is impacting millions of people across the country, and nobody is safe in this situation.
All right, let's see then what happens in about 20 minutes from now. We do know, of course, that is, meant to be that moment when we see the ceasefire. But as you say, it doesn't look like things are changing on the ground. Let's leave it there with you for now. That is Naba Mohiedeen, SABC News correspondent.